Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So let's begin our session with a wonderful quote. Blockchain is the financial challenge of our time. It is going to change the way that our financial world operates. So, for starting a new chapter of learning, I, Namneet Kaur Grover, being your host for today's event, wants to extend a warm greeting and good afternoon to all of you present here. I hope you all are doing amazing. On behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for today's international webinar on the topic blockchain versus traditional tech. And to add our guest of honor and today's speaker, Mr. Adhar Pahuja. It is a great honor to have you with us, sir. We are grateful for your presence. Now, let me introduce today's speaker to you all. With over 10 years of work experience in digital marketing and blockchain development, he has been providing trainings on these subjects. He is guest lecturer for both these subjects with different edtech companies. He specializes in blockchain development and solutions, also including data science and artificial intelligence. His other skills includes paid promotions, marketing, e-com, selling NFTs, health, and nutrition. He had worked in various diversified domains such as agriculture industry, healthcare industry, e-com, and edtech industry. His very first job included providing technical support for games published by Electronic Arts. He is the founder and CEO of edtech company launched recently with the name Skillverse Academy, which in future aims to provide free education for all. Also building a project on DeFi for complete banking solution on blockchain. Now, over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your lovely introduction. And thank you so much for SEMS Welfare for allowing me to speak. And I must applaud your SEMS Foundation and DG Saksham initiative because you have been providing awareness and providing workshops. So that is really commendable. So let's start with our topic, blockchain. And let me just share my screen now. Okay, so introduction to blockchain. So what exactly is blockchain? Blockchain technology a few years ago was only related to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, Ethereum. No one thought that blockchain would be a platform for developing applications, supply chains, and many more things. We are going to deep dive into how blockchain is better than the traditional technologies present right and how it is the technology for the future. So what exactly is blockchain? Blockchain technology means it is basically a cloud storage technology where the information is stored in the distributed ledger form. And to store any information, we have to provide some kind of gas fees, that is the transaction fees. So to retrieve the information, there is no gas fees involved. So now we have seen how blockchain has been providing us benefits and given us a platform where we can track our management systems, insurance systems, and many more. Let's talk about healthcare. So blockchain has proven its worth in improved healthcare management. We have seen in the pandemic where we were tracking medicine supplies to controlling the diseases spread and keep the track of the patient records. Blockchain is covering everything that comes in the healthcare system. Improved banking transactions. The role of blockchain in the finance sector cannot be skipped, as this very technology helps the financial bodies to manage the financial transactions seamlessly. This technology integration also triggers a platform for the banks to combat frauds and offers a seamless way for users. This also helps in creating automated payments and cross-border payments without the need for any middleman in between. So let's dive into what are the benefits. So there are no middlemen when we use blockchain because there is only a gas fees involved. So that is why it doesn't put a dent in your pocket. Let's talk about an example. So you want to transfer money another country, let's say USA. You want to send your relative money through banking. So you are limited by the banking hours. You are limited by the transaction fees. You also the transaction time is delayed. It is not instant. So blockchain helps us solve all those problems. The insurance sector grows efficient. It has been stated that the insurance sector is considered to be full of risks as many verifications have to be made. So for verifications, you already know, like there have been insurance companies who make you sign the insurance documents, and when you want to take a claim, they will highlight a policy that will say that we cannot cover this. So here blockchain steps in and enables the smart contracts to handle the process, and ensures to integrate a system where valid claims are paid out. In this process, the satisfactory claims can be made and payments are done automatically without creating any sort of disturbance in the flow, such as a person coming in your home for verification and many other verification processes. So there is no need for that. Smarter supply chains. Every business and its success completely depends on the efficient supply chain that leads to customer satisfaction. With blockchain technology, the complete cycle gets improved, where and helps businesses to track and trace the transparency of products from one place to another. It also ensures to keep a check on the safety measures amid the pandemic, and it shows any sort of contamination taking place. So how is blockchain better than traditional technology? Blockchain is extraordinarily robust and potential in contrast to the standard and traditional databases. The traditional database system is considered by some to be equipped with a certain set of flaws, whereas blockchain technology could be considered subjected to nominal flaws and complications. Now, let us talk about what are the major differences. Okay. So the blockchain technology of Bitcoin is a new flash database system, but the dynamics of blockchain are highly diversified in contrast to the traditional database. The traditional database systems are basically equipped with a private or authorized access. All the more these database systems can be subjected to small group. However, the blockchain of Bitcoin is easily accessible by almost every participant in the Bitcoin network. Suppose you made a transaction in Bitcoin, you are allowed to have access to the Bitcoin unit. So the major difference is that everyone can buy a Bitcoin or everyone can buy a cryptocurrency. But there are some people who are not even allowed to have bank accounts, right? There are some people who still do not own any bank account because of some reasons, like they do not have a permanent address, or they do not have their Aadhaar card or documents or more things, etc., etc. So the Bitcoin blockchain is operated by the nodding system or a peer-to-peer network. What is a nodding system? So basically, we run nodes. What are nodes? Nodes means it is a kind of the software for the blockchain network that you run on different computers which are up and online 24/7. So they run your blockchain network company. So we can even rent it out or we can buy it. Buy the systems and run the software on. So let us talk about the first major difference, which is decentralization. So what do you mean by decentralization? Does any of you know? Okay. So decentralization means you already know about centralization. Centralization means governing authority sits over on top of the database or system where they govern whatever is happening. And if there are people who can control and govern whatever is happening, there are chances of corruption. Okay. So it is not independent when the system is centralized. But when the system is decentralized, there are no government authorities or high political and financial powers. So no one can interfere with the blockchain network. Every participant is equal, and every participant is allowed to perform transactions and use all the decentralized services, such as taking loans. You can take loans on blockchain. You can even buy things without changing your cryptocurrency to the INR or USD. So, in a nutshell, the blockchain database does not contain the requisite validation and authorization of higher authorities. The peer-to-peer network of nodes in the complex of Bitcoin blockchain are the primary entities controlling the network. So, yes? Any questions? Okay. Okay. So the computing resources are equipped with an offline copy of the entire blockchain. The current size of more than 350 gigabytes are called nodes. As soon as there is an update in the blockchain, every blockchain copy distributed to these nodes gets synchronized with an update. So what happens is this technology is stored in the form of blocks. So these blocks are connected in a linear chain. And whenever a new transaction happens, the latest blocks gets updated, and then the same information is updated on all of the previous blocks as well, so that there is no chance of corruption or any fraudulent activity. So it is gigantic and robust. We already know blockchain of Bitcoin is processing every. So Bitcoin works on a consensus system called proof of work, where if you provide computing resources for the transactions to happen, you can mine Bitcoins, which will be directly transferred to your wallet. So it is very gigantic and robust. It is very complex, and the smart contract, once deployed, cannot be changed. So every blockchain, basically, or every blockchain network works on a decided block, decided smart contract, where the smart contract defines how the blockchain will work, and even the developers cannot change the smart contracts once it is deployed. So there is no chance for fraudulent activity and making any kind of exception. Transparency and discretion. Okay, so it is completely transparent and it is completely discrete. And how is it? How does it happen? Like, how is it transparent as well, and how is it discrete? Let me show you an example. Scan.io. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see the browser window?
No, sir. Just your PPT is showing.
Okay. Let me check. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay, great. So in this website, etherscan.io, you can find all the transactions happening in Ethereum. Okay. So this is the fee they sent. These are the latest transactions. So let us just open any one of them. Okay. So this is the latest transaction that has happened. This was the Ethereum 0.057, $110 worth that was transferred. And the gas fees, which is the transaction fees, was $0.56. Now, the total gas fees is denoted in GWEI. What is GWEI? It is basically for removing extra symbols. We denote gas in the form of GWEI because it is easier for transactions to happen, because when the decimal digits are too, like if there are more than 8 or 9 decimal digits, the transaction sometimes fails. Okay, so how is it? Let's get on to the topic. How is it transparent and discrete? We can see the it is transparent. right? We can see all the transactions happen. We can see that this transaction was transferred from this wallet to this wallet. But this is where the discretion comes in. We don't know whose wallet is this. We can see the transactions are happening, but we don't know whose wallet is this. We can see all the wallets. So the discretion comes in here. Okay, now let's move on ahead. Now, benefits of using blockchain technology. The number one is enhanced security. Blockchain technology brandishes superior technology in securing the entries or data stored in its digital ledger. Okay, so when we are talking about blockchain, we are only talking about public blockchain. We are not talking about private blockchain and consortium blockchains. They are a different topic altogether. So enhanced security, the public blockchains include Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many more. Like there are stable coins as well, such as USDT, DAO, and many more. So blockchain technology brandishes superior technology in securing these entries or data stored in its digital ledger. Every blockchain platform employs a consensus model which guides the entry or registration of data on the ledgers. So what is consensus model? So Bitcoin works on proof of work. Proof of work means just like I told you, you can provide your computational resources and mine Bitcoin for rewards by providing your computational resources. Now, there is another consensus model, which is proof of stake, where you can stake your cryptocurrency just like bank FDs and earn interest on it. So data cannot just be appended into a block at will, and as such, no one can manipulate or squeeze any entry in it in without the consensus. So the consensus mechanism decides how the data is going to be stored. Once the data is filled into each block, they are enclosed with the encryption, making accessibility possible only through a hashing method. So it provides security as there is a consensus mechanism placed. There are many consensus mechanisms like proof of work, proof of stake, proof of burn, Byzantine's default tolerance, which is called BBFT. There is also called Casper. So Ethereum used to work on proof of work consensus, but now it has shifted its consensus system to proof of stake, a modified version of proof of stake, which is called Casper. You can read it more about it on their official website of Ethereum. Everything is available. The decentralization model or nature of blockchain technology, in which each computer or node in the network owns a copy of transactions recorded, is also basis for enhanced security. Okay, so for any malicious actor to gain access, such an actor must gain access to at least 51% of the net. So how do you access 51% of the net? By accessing 51% of the nodes, which are physical computers. So if you play as the blockchain network and nodes grow, it enhances security, because to make an attack at least 51% of the network, you have to have control over the 51% network at the same time, which is not very practical, because you can have nodes, some running nodes in Delhi, in Mumbai, in Pune, in Karnataka, and then in other countries as well. So so it is like, not, you cannot say like it cannot be attacked, but it is very difficult to attack. So this is not feasible in a typical real world scenario. As the number of node operators increases, the security of the network is further enhanced. Again, decentralization, because blockchain technology is an ideal example of decentralized network system at work. The network or hardware resources that power the blockchain ecosystem is owned by every node operator. So even you can run nodes. You can also participate in the blockchain system. You can run a node of Ethereum or run a node of Bitcoin and enhance their securities. There are other projects which also involve, Ethereum has also announced to run master nodes, where you have to deposit some Ethereum and run master nodes, and you can mine Ethereum. There are many, the world has been plagued by the inefficiencies of a centralized model. So we have seen the government bodies and not just about India, about the world. All the governing bodies have been inefficient and they have been corrupt. Like centralizing data points predisposes the system to low fault tolerance as well as opening it up to a single point of failure. All these are not inherent in a decentralized blockchain system. So, another example I can say are bank frauds, bank NPAs. So banking system is basically flawed. Whenever there are people involved, there are chances of human errors. There are many direct and unique advantages decentralization brings to an entity, and this includes but not limited to reducing the points of weakness in the network and resource distribution optimization. In reality, concentrating manpower ultimately leading to inefficient and slow services. It is hard for all parties in decentralized system to experience burnout systems at the same time. Each individual node is managed independently and the possibility of uniform collapse is low. Now, traceability, just like I showed you, you can trace every transaction happening on the blockchain. Even if you think that it is a fraudulent transaction or something, you can easily find out which wallet is doing that. Then transparency. Achieving transparency by many governments and organizations has been attempted in various ways over the years. So many people have tried to achieve transparency, but some places a system of trust in individuals, perhaps at the management level in an organization to oversee transactions. So there are generally a few bunch of people who oversee these transactions, and that is why blockchain is superior technology over it. However, humans can be fraught with corruption, and the system has proven not to yield many results over time. While legal laws have also not helped, rules and regulations established in organizations have not also proven to work in maintaining transparent transactional process. This leaves stakeholders to begin exploring emerging technologies for their merits. Here is where blockchain technology comes to life. Registering data or record keeping transactions on open source distributed ledgers such as Hyperledger, managed by peers, brings transparency. So, what is Hyperledger? So, when we talk about Hyperledger is directly involved with private permission blockchain. So, what is a private permission blockchain? When we talk about a public blockchain, the data stored, as I told you, the data is stored in the form of blocks and which is connected in a linear form. So the same transactional records are stored on each block. But when we talk about Hyperledger Fabric, each node sends a different information to the network. That is why we need Hyperledger Fabric for it. You can also check out the official website of Hyperledger Fabric 2.0 and its components such as Sawtooth, Indy, Iroha. They are all different parts of Hyperledger Fabric, which provide different consensus mechanisms. So to choose a particular consensus mechanism, you can opt for one of these, which suits you the best. Peers may conduct the transactions and double as the validator of the transactions for storage on the blockchain. All of the inherent features of a decentralized network, particularly the safekeeping of encrypted transactions on each node, also contributes to the transparency of the entire system. So we have seen that people like investing in companies, in unicorns, in startups, and everyone who wants to invest in such projects wants their transactional process to be transparent, but it does not happen. However, how much you try, it does not happen. It will be controlled by the people and the higher man. Peers may conduct the transactions. Speed and efficiency. Let's talk about speed and efficiency. Now, banking systems are generally have work on a fixed time. They have public holidays. Their Saturday, Sundays are off, and generally they send you from one counter to another. Or if even if you want to send money to another country, the transaction is not instant. It takes time, and the transaction fee is also high. Over the past few decades, there has been a gradual evolution and transformation in digital workflows. From manual recording of data for the advent of digital systems, the world experienced a remarkable shift towards automation. More than before, technologies advances have always sought to replace more time consuming processes with more efficient systems. Blockchain technology is the right candidate for this use. The automation of transactions helps remove human based errors, while the transactions confirmation speeds in real time by all participants in the network helps improve the overall efficiency of the system. Okay, let me give you an example. For let's say you want to send me some USDT. So you can just go ahead and send me some USDT in my wallet, and the peers transactions will verify it in almost within 10 minutes. So the transaction is almost instant, whereas the bankings take time. They will tell you like 5 to 7 days, business days are generally required. As often reiterated, blockchain technology does not only find expression in digital assets or cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins. Every system that utilizes blockchain equally benefits from its inherent speed and efficiency. So obviously, it is more secure. There is lower transaction fee. Say if you want me to, is you the transaction fees involved in the banks are based on percentage, right? They will generally charge 1%, 2%, and as the number of amount increases, the transaction fee also increases. But blockchain does not do that. When you use blockchain for sending cryptocurrencies or accepting cryptocurrencies, there is a standard gas fee involved like $2 to $3, no matter how big the amount is. So obviously this is better and faster. Now, reduced costs. The absence of intermediaries or middlemen helps to lower the cost of transactions. See, there are no people on salary working, so that cost also is eliminated. There are only nodes running, which verify the transactions, and there are reduced costs. To put it in the right perspective, the presence of middlemen in a particular transaction comes with paying for the services of such an app. Just like I told you, like 2 to 3% for every transaction. Blockchain technology lets consumers interact directly with one another, thus making the roles of intermediaries such as Google, Microsoft, or IBM very redundant. Let's use central banks to buttress the roles of intermediaries and how this technology in the payment system has notably changed things. Central banks prints and issues money to the various banking institutions operating the country's banking regulatory provisions. These banks are tasked with the responsibility of distributing the fiat money to users and collect commissions and fees for the services they provide. One of the benefits of blockchain is the growing use of cryptocurrencies of transactions. Now, anyone anywhere can transfer funds directly to family, friends, and business parties by paying almost a negligible fraction of 5 to 7% transaction fee traditional financial institutions would have charged. This elimination of middlemen for tracking goods in a supply chain network also. So this also works in the supply chain network. It will also help you with tracking of your inventory, and there is no chance for making any malicious changes. Now let's talk about immutability. What is immutability? This is a very important feature of blockchain technology. Immutability means once the transaction data has been stored or the smart contract has been deployed, it cannot be changed. Even me as a developer, I cannot change. I can add new features to it, but I cannot make any attempts to make any exceptions or change, correct, or modify it. Now, a real use case scenario around it. Let's talk about a real use case scenario around. Let's say if the police FIRs are on blockchain network, what will happen? They cannot change, correct, or remove any kind of information. So immutability is a very important feature, and it helps that once the data is stored on the chain, it cannot be changed, modified, corrected, deleted in any way. Now, Bitcoin and blockchain relation. Bitcoin is the digital asset currency. Blockchain is the technology that Bitcoin is built on. Therefore, Bitcoin is dependent on blockchain technology. Without blockchain, Bitcoin would not be valuable because there would be no secure method of transacting it. Blockchain provides a verifiable database ensuring that all perpetrated transfers are actually transfers. As a result, you are protected from double spending and fraud. The relationship between blockchain and Bitcoin is of great significance. Through blockchain, the distributed computers recording and verifying transaction must agree that the transaction is valid before a new block can be added to the chain. This presents a level of security and protection that has not been witnessed before. No single computer can alter the history of the chain. The trust that is usually given to the central institutions, such as banks, to keep accurate records will eventually be replaced with a consensus-based model. So, according to a US forecast, by 2030, banks will be irrelevant. I don't know if it is true, but that is what they are forecasting. It is suggested that although current discourse about blockchain has been limited to its applicability in the financial sector, it will in future be used in record keeping, such as property deeds and contracts and shipping information. It is for this reason that many commentators have labeled blockchain a disruptive technology. Let me give you an example for property deeds or record keeping. Tech Mahindra is actually working on a project for tokenization of properties. Okay, what it will do is it will store your property information on blockchain. And then once it is stored, no one can make forged your papers or make any fraudulent claims or anything. So it will solve a lot of things, contracts as well, shipping information as well. It is for the reason that it is very disruptive. Okay, so when you should use blockchain technology? Blockchain is a decentralized approach, again, where peers can communicate and validate transactions without depending on a centralized entity. This change from centralization to decentralization makes blockchain so valuable in the current scenario. If a user sends digital currency or information to another user in digital ledger network. What is digital ledger network? So the blocks are basically the digital ledgers. It is a group of information. The block contains the group of transactions. The block containing a lot of transaction is then verified against the consensus method chosen by the network. Let's say proof of work, proof of stake, or whatever it is. The key features of blockchain-powered network include transparency, immutability, enhanced security, decentralization. It is irreversible and it gives you faster settlements. So this is a conceptual illustration of a blockchain, how these blocks are added. So it contains a group of transactions. Then again, it contains a group of transactions. Whenever a new transaction is added, it contains the record of the new transaction and old transaction. And the new transaction information is also updated to the old block. So this is how it works. A new transaction happens, a new block is added. It is updated with all the previous information, and the previous blocks gets updated with the new blocks information. So public blockchain ledgers are primarily managed autonomously and are used in peer-to-peer networks to exchange data between connected groups of parties, as is the nature of blockchain. There is no need for an administrator. The users work together as a collective administrator. So every participant in the blockchain is equal. Now, the users work together as a collective administrator. Another form of blockchain, generally known as a permissioned or private blockchain, allows an organization to both create and administer transactional networks that can be used with partners either internally or from one company to another. Every blockchain transaction goes through the same steps regardless of whether it is used for financial transactions or product tracking. So, storing an information is a kind of transaction. So, it does not mean you have to send cryptocurrencies. It just means you can you just add any information, let's say the inventory management or tracking of supplies or anything. So a record is, so what are the processes? A record, what is the process for each transaction? A record is made of each transaction. This record, which contains certain details of the people making the transaction, is authenticated using the digital signature of each. Now, where does this digital signature come from? This digital signature comes from the wallets that you use. For example, Trust Wallet or MetaMask, any wallet you use, once you set it up, it will give you a digital signature for your wallet. Each transaction is verified to ensure its validity. This verification process is completed by the computers connected to the network, each of which independently checks to ensure that the trade is legitimate. So what happens is that each and every node will verify it before the transaction goes through, so that there is no chance for any fraudulent activity. Because this is a decentralized process, it means that every node in the network needs to agree before the process can be completed. Once verified, each transaction is added to a block that gets hashed. Blocks are basically groups of transactions, just like I told you, and each one is unique. Each block also carries a code known as a hash value or hash digest. So, which both uniquely identifies it and calls out its position within the blockchain. Let's say we have a block acting out strange. So we need to call out that particular block. So what identifies it? The hash value or the hash digest, and calls out its position within it. The hash also ensures the integrity of the data to show that it hasn't been modified since it was recorded in the block. Once complete, the block is added to the end of the blockchain. Again, hashing of a new block, adding of a new block. This brings us to the end of the blockchain creation and verification process. Once one block is complete, another block will soon follow, typically within just a matter of minutes. Okay, so let's talk about private versus public key. So what are private keys and public? Everyone knows here about WhatsApp, right? Everyone uses WhatsApp. So, what is a private key? Have you seen with some chats that your private key has been changed? You get a message from WhatsApp that your private key has been recently changed. So, what is that private key? That private key is basically used to encrypt or decrypt the messages. So, there is only one private key involved in the WhatsApp. So, once someone can get access to this private key, they can encrypt and decrypt both your messages. Okay. But when we talk about blockchain, it does not happen that way. Now, when we talk about blockchain, we will talk about, as an example, we will talk about wallets. Now, what are wallets? Wallets are where you store your digital currency. Now, when you use blockchain technology, there is not just one private for encryption and decryption. There are two keys, one private key and one public. Now, only your private key can decrypt the message. So only your private key can decrypt the message, but your public key can be used to send or receive cryptocurrency. So usually these private keys vary depending on the different types of cryptocurrencies. Although almost all of them use 256-bit encryption. That includes BTC, ETH, Litecoin, and for example, a Bitcoin private key is formatted with the values such as 0 into 01 or 0 into blah. So this is your wallet address is like this, representing nearly the entire range of 225611. As an example of a public keys, so this is a public keys look like. The key is a sequence of random symbols available to any person, public key, or known only by its owner, private. So what will be the private key when we use our wallets? Okay, so if you haven't set up a wallet, I would really recommend you to set up a wallet. You can set up any wallet, Trust Wallet or MetaMask. And when you set up that wallet, you will be given a paraphrase. That paraphrase is your login credentials. You don't need an ID or password for logging into. You have that private key, which is a phrase, which you should not share it with anyone. That is used for encryption and decryption whenever any transaction happens. And once you set it up, you will understand how the encryption and decryption happens. And if right now some people have you installed the wallet already, I can help you list an NFT. Do you want to learn how to list an NFT right now? Anyone? Anyone has a wallet set up right now? Okay. So the differences between the public and private keys, both private and public keys goal is to verify that a given transaction was spent by the party who signed it and not forged out of thin air. Though both types of encryption cater a similar purpose, they differ in many ways. Here is what you need to understand. Algorithm and mechanism. In public key encryption, there must be two separate keys for encryption and decryption. Just like I told you in WhatsApp, there is only one private key, right? But in public key encryption, there must be two separate keys for encryption and decryptions. The private key is for the owner only, while the public key is available to anyone. One key is required for transmission between the two parties involved in the symmetric key cryptography. The same private key is used both to encrypt and decrypt the information. It is shared between sender and receiver of an encrypted message. So we are talking about single key, symmetric key cryptography, which happens in WhatsApp. Performance. The private key mechanism is much faster than the public. So the mechanism that WhatsApp uses is way faster than the public. That is because a private key requires only one key while the public key requires two keys. So the encryption and decryption happens way faster because of a single key here. Privacy, the private key is kept secret and not disclosed to anyone apart from the wallet's owner. Once lost, the private key is impossible to restore and the encrypted file becomes unusable. Typically, these keys are difficult to remember as it involves complex numbering. Still, the safety of private keys is entirely up to its owner. That is why the best method to keep your private key safe is an offline storage device. On the other hand, the public key is open to all users and should be available upon search. It is unlikely to lose the code. Now, digital signature, I already told you about it, that you can install a wallet and your digital signature will be verified whenever you do a transaction, or even if you connect your wallet to an NFT marketplace, it will ask you to digitally sign it. You don't have to do anything. You just have to press on the button to go ahead and digitally sign. The digital signature provides certain security benefits such as authentication. It proves if the message or user is legal or not, is forging is impossible. Non-negation. The message sender cannot deny the signature after completion. Integrity. The signature serves as a guarantee that the received message is not altered. Encryption and decryption. The content is encrypted with the user's public key and can only be decrypted with its private. So when we are talking about asymmetric encryption, which happens in blockchain, the content will be encrypted with the user's public key, and when the receiver uses its private key to decrypt it, only then the transaction will happen. That is the only way to convert the message pair. Encryption provides the following. Okay. The encryption process with a secure public key guarantee that the received message is not altered. Public key cryptography is used in a large number of protocols and data formats, which are implemented by a vast range of applications and systems. So that includes SSL protocol, SSH. SSL is for websites. SSH is for applications, digitally signed PDF files, Open PGF, SMIME, etc. Is widely applied to software programs such as browsers to ensure secure connections in insecure networks. Asymmetric cryptography forms the base for the blockchain algorithm, which constitutes a base for all cryptocurrencies. Okay, so the mining is dead right now. You actually cannot mine much because it is not cost effective. The electricity cost will be much higher than what you will earn. So let's skip the mining part. Okay, so let's talk about more about the Bitcoin and how many Bitcoin supply networks are there. Now let's go to Bitcoin capital. Okay, now let's talk about Bitcoin. Now this is the circulating supply of Bitcoin, which is 93%. So already the 93% Bitcoins have been mined. There will be only 21 million Bitcoins available. So, and the market cap of this coin is, it is increasing and decreasing. So the market cap, what is the market cap? Market cap just means the total amount of money invested in this coin. And if you divide it by the circulating supply, you will get the price of the Bitcoin. This is applicable on almost all the coins besides stable coins. Stable coins such as USDT, which always reflects the value of dollar. So no matter how much the market cap there will be, it will always release some circulating supply so that the price is equal to $1. Now there are decentralized apps. To access dApps, you need to install a wallet. After you install a wallet, you can go to browser and you can explore a lot of dApps such as one example being OpenSea. So this is an NFT marketplace and where people sell NFTs here. This is basically for creators forum. People who create art and they can sell art through this platform. You can just connect your wallet, Coinbase, MetaMask, or anything. Let's say, okay. So, for example, I have connected my wallet. You can also add an extension of the MetaMask in your browser and then connect it with it, the OpenSea app. And also there is now, this is a decentralized exchange. You already know about the centralized exchanges such as WazirX, Binance, or which one is it? CoinSwitch, Kubera. So this is a decentralized exchange. You can directly swap your cryptocurrencies. Just connect your wallet again. MetaMask wallet. Now it has been connected. Allow this side. So this works on the Binance Smart Chain. Every blockchain has its own network, such as blockchain has its network called Web2, and the Binance Smart Chain network runs on Web20. The Ethereum runs on ERC20. Just like that, there are many tokens that are built on top of another's blockchain. So these are generally called layer 2 blockchains, a framework designed on top of another framework. So if you build a cryptocurrency on top of, let's say, Binance Smart Chain, so it will be called a layer 2. If you add new features, not just a token, you can just deploy a token on BSC. It is very, and how to create a network, how to create a token. You go to Solidity. This is the compiler. Okay. So this is your compiler, just like C++ has its compiler. So the smart contracts run on Solidity. Solidity is the programming language and this is the compiler. So for example, this is the contract is my token is ERC20, constructor my token MTK. So this is the token and infinite. So we can even compile it. Just compile my test open. You can now see the compilation details, or you can just go ahead and run the test transaction. So let's say we have 100 Ether here in test transactions, and we want to deploy it. We deployed it, and then there is a gas fee involved. For deployment, there will be a gas fee. Now, again, when you deploy it, okay. Now the transaction has been recorded. Okay, so we did not add a value. The gas fees, if not provided correctly, the transaction is always paid. So there are many tests. There are many smart contracts for tokens, and for even Binance Smart Chain. You can create a different. That does not work on Solidity. Solidity is only for Ethereum. Let me also show you. Now, this is what we use to build private permission blockchain. You can build your first network, get the code, case studies. These are the case studies, Honeywell, Walmart, and they have been using distributed ledger software. There are other components of it. Okay, so there are many other components. Okay, so when we talk about Hyperledger Foundation, whenever we are talking about private permission blockchain, the Hyperledger is used, and the smart contracts are not called smart contracts in Hyperledger Fabric. They are called chain codes, and they run on Node.js, Golang, or Java. So change the website a little. Yeah, so these are the components: Aries, Besu, Fabric, Indy, Iroha, Sawtooth, Anancreds, Bevel, Cacti, Caliper, Cello. So why do we need to use them? We need to use them because they provide different features and different consensus mechanisms. So this is good for this project consumes the cryptographic support provided by Hyperledger to provide secure secret management and decentralized key management functionality. So this is better for digital signatures. Hyperledger Besu gives you IBFT 2 and QBFT clicks, including proof of stake, proof of work, proof of authority. So these are the consensus mechanisms they provide. So let's get back to okay, so how can you mine them? Just by providing computing resources, but the electricity bill will be much more. There are two ways to mining Bitcoins. Okay, so you can actually mine some Bitcoins from a custom mining hardware such as ASIC miners, but they also are more energy consuming, electricity. So there are more ways to mine cryptocurrency now when there is proof of stake available, and you can just I'll show you that. Okay, so now what are the changes that have happened in Ethereum? You can just check it out. What are NFTs? NFTs are basically the digital art I just showed you on OpenSea.io. And what is decentralized finance? I'm also creating my own project on DeFi. So what is DeFi? DeFi is an umbrella term for decentralized finance. So basically banking on blockchain. Now, when I told you about running a node, here you can run a node for Ethereum. Now take full control, run your own node, become a fully sovereign while helping secure network. So you can also run an Ethereum node, which will help you secure the network. So if there are many nodes running and you are also helping it secure, you are also running, you will receive some form of rewards in the form of Ethereum, and you'll be contributing to the security. You don't need to stake ETH to run a node. In fact, it's every other node on Ethereum that holds validators accountable. So you don't need to have any Ethereum to run a node. You can just do it on any computer. Just run the software known as the client, which is downloads a copy of Ethereum blockchain, verifies the let me just show that to you as well. Yeah. So you can install this app from the official Ethereum website. This is how you run on. This is just a software which will run, and you can contribute to the Ethereum's blockchain network. So it looks like this. So with this, we come to an end. Thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this session, and I hope you all gained some knowledge on the blockchain. Blockchain is not only about cryptocurrencies. It is a new technology for future. It is still in the early development phase. And even if you dive into it right now, you will still be able to fast forward your career. So thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Wow,
Any
what
doubts?
a wonderful
Yes.
what a wonderful knowledge given by you, sir. I hope our audience learned many new things from this session. Before we conclude, let's briefly discuss the future of blockchain and traditional technology. As technology continues to evolve, we expect to see further integration and collaboration between blockchain and traditional technology. Hybrid solutions that combine the best of both worlds are already emerging. Both blockchain and traditional technology will continue to evolve and coexist with opportunities for collaboration. We may see hybrid solutions that integrate blockchain's transparency and security into traditional systems, leveraging the strength of both approaches. Additionally, emerging technology like artificial intelligence and Internet of Things (IoT) can complement blockchain and traditional tech, further enhancing their capability. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached to the end of today's webinar on blockchain versus traditional tech. I hope this session has provided you with valuable insights into differences, advantages, and potential applications of both technology. So, there are few questions which our audience wants to be answered. So, with your permission, shall we?
Yes, please.
So, the first question is, can you explain how blockchain technology ensures security in transactions compared to traditional tech systems?
Yeah, so just like I showed you ethascan.io, you can just check it out, the transactions happening. It is very transparent and it is very discreet. And how you increase the security than the traditional tech is by providing more nodes. We discussed about nodes, running softwares of the blockchain network. So as the number of nodes increases, the security is further enhanced, and every participant is equal in the blockchain. So no one can manipulate.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering. The next question is, how does blockchain technology address issues of trust and intermediaries compared to traditional tech system?
Okay, so traditional technology relies on trust, but the blockchain technology relies on smart contracts. So everything is decided by the smart contract, the algorithm you decide, and the transactions will happen according to the set of rules that are defined. So there is no chance of human error.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional question, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Please follow our social media and subscribe YouTube channel for new learning. Thank you all for cooperating. So stay connected to us for new learnings. I, Namneet Kaur Grover, host for the day, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, sir, for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.